I will predict that we will score points in the first quarter, though. I am going to throw that out there. Yes, it's going to happen. This is the week. We will score points. I won't say how many, but we will get some points. What's going on, Jets fans? Welcome in to NYJ today. It is the Sunday night post-game show, and we have got a special guest. It's a win. We're just celebrating. It's amazing. I got Paul Esdrin. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, Esdrin.
Esdrin. I apologize. I was adding an extra syllable. Jet Boy Green, and he is here. How you doing, man?
I'm doing awesome. It's so cool to make the NYJ Today debut. Today, It's phenomenal, man. What a time. You and scheduling, again, it's a blessing. You got to get me on the show more. This was destiny.
I know. That's what I was saying. Fate, man. It felt like we were destined to celebrate a win, but also a very, very fun game to watch, and just so many really, really cool storylines that are going to come out in this stream tonight. So welcome if you're just joining us. We'll get going talking all things Jets. If you guys don't mind, go ahead and hit the like button, and if you guys are new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. If you have not checked out our man over here, Paul, please do look him up on Twitter. He is on Twitter. He is also on YouTube. He has a YouTube channel, and I will probably need to put the link for your channel. I forgot to do that. I'll put that in the description of this video. Happy to share that out with everybody. So Paul, we'll go to the comments in a minute, but I want to hear from you first. Initial takeaways. I mean, we're going to go back and forth all night long about, the different things, but what were some of the biggest takeaways that, you feel like ripping and ready to talk about?
Oh man, how much time do we have? There's a lot to get into. I would start on a basic level first. I mean, just pure basic, and that's the effort we saw against the New England Patriots was disgusting. It made a lot of us go, wow, it looks like things are heading south. And then some of the commentary from the coaches after the game, like Saleh was like, oh, weird. Where are we going here? So and coming off a bye, like there's no excuse for what we saw in New England, and the offense continuing to suck. And they're like, well, we're going to figure it out. We just had 2 weeks and you didn't figure it out. So, and with Zach Wilson getting hurt, like it was the perfect storm of crap for the Jets. So really heading into this one, I wasn't sure. This was one of those where I'm like, well, let's just see what happens in this one. And I was this close to going. I wouldn't have been able to make it back for this show. So I'm glad, everything works out the way it is. For me, the effort, the hustle on both sides of the ball, for sure.
It was really just like a night and day thing. And you hit it really well by saying it was like kind of gross, and like we were all just listening to the things the people were saying. The players were complaining about the Patriots, running the score up. We heard things from Saleh that were a little weird. But Saleh in his presser after the game, I thought he said it really well. He's like, guys, this is kind of what I've been telling you. Young squad, they're going to be weeks where they look absolutely dynamite, and then there's going to be weeks where they don't even look like they belong in the league. So this is maybe a learning lesson for all of us. We just need to take the good with the really bad, even though it is hard to watch at times. So let's go ahead. We've got I'm going to Disney World. Listen, man, it feels like it, man. Let's talk a little bit about Mike White, because I know that's going to be a big topic of discussion tonight. And I think we're going to get some of that, some of that discussion where it's like, oh, who are we going to go with once Zach comes back? I don't know if that's a conversation I'm completely ready to have yet, because it's too soon for that, I think. But let's just talk a little bit about what he did, because he played with a lot of balls today, I feel like.
That was just – because I'm going to be honest. Jet fans are unfortunately used to just backups coming in, right? Bryce Petty, David Fales, Luke Falk. I mean – I hate that I have all these names in the head of guys that have been forced to step up. And unfortunately, this has been a horror story. We're on Halloween tonight, so happy Halloween. It's been like a horror story movie where every around the corner, Luke Falk, David Fales, Joe Flacco, So
Yes.
like our expectations going into this one with Mike White, a guy who's never started a game before, has been, and I think they said it on the broadcast, like 11 times he's either been cut, moved around, and shifted. So it's like, oh boy. I mean, how could
Yep.
someone that good fall through the cracks that many times? A young kid who's never, and he's relatively young. I think he's 26 years old, but still, so he's been around the block a little bit. But again, first start ever. What expectations against a Bengals team coming in who had the best record in the conference? They just dismantled the Baltimore Ravens heading into this game. Like, oh boy, well, what's going to happen here? And Mike White not only took the little stuff, which was impressive, and shout out to Saleh because he said in the post-game presser that the decision to suddenly just take the ball came out of nowhere. He said it was random. It just kind of hit him. He said, you know what? Let's do this. Because normally he defers. So he
Of
just
course.
took it. Mike White walks right down the field, and I'm like, what kind of universe am I in right now? First quarter points, opening drive touchdown. I'm like, wait a second here. That's when we knew that something was afoot. But again, the numbers are 405 passing yards. A first Jets quarterback to do that in 21 years? Good Lord. I mean, what? The 3 touchdowns, the 9 yards per clip. So again, it's not just dink and dunk. That's what he was labeled as at the beginning of the game, but that's not what he did. 9 yards an attempt. That's an incredible figure.
Yes.
Wow, there was just wow. And even the turnovers were barely his fault. I mean, a lot of deflected passes of guys who didn't catch the ball. You can blame him on the first one for putting too much mustard on that first sandwich, but really, I mean, those weren't even his fault. So spectacular, stunning, surprising, jarring. I don't know how many more adjectives I can use, man.
You cannot use enough, I feel like. And you said it best. You highlighted some of the most important things. So the Michael Carter interception, I think I sent out a tweet real quick after it happened. I was like, there was an offensive lineman and a defensive lineman literally engaged in the passing lane. And Mike White threw it over those guys. And Carter literally saw the ball right at the last second. Like, there was no time for him to adjust. I'm not trying to make an excuse for Carter there. I saw some comments from some people saying that Carter doesn't have, maybe he needs to work on his hands. I don't see that as a problem at all. This is
really?
now, yeah, no, for real, yeah. I won't call out names. I'm not going to do that. But it was said.
I was on the other side. I'll just say, not like that he has stone hands. Like I saw some people tweeting that out. I'm not quite ready to go that far, but I'm not quite in your camp. I'm somewhere in the middle. I mean, there's been moments where, and it happened a couple of times in this game, the interception. There was one, I think it was like a V route where he just kind of dropped it and he had space in front of him. Not quite Denver where it would have been a touchdown, but he had opportunity. So on a couple of those have been like, oh God, if he would, but it was obviously way more great than bad. But that was a tough one for sure.
Yeah, I think consistency. I think that's fair to say. Like, he needs to work on obviously just catching it when he's open, because that's been the thing. He's dropped it when he's open. Ridiculously good game from him. So efficient. Only had, let's see here, 24 touches, averaged 5 yards per carry, and had over 10 yards per reception from the running game, or from as a running back. It's a really, really impressive stuff. So easily his best game of the season, and not a slouch of a team by any means. You said it as well. Number 1 team coming into the week in the conference. Back to Mike White. So we're watching the game, and he starts it 11 for 11, and I'm sitting there saying to myself, wow, this is like really, really impressive. And then I see the 2 turnovers, and I know that they weren't really necessarily his, but I was like, I'm wondering how he's going to react.
Sure.
I mean, that's a fair thing, even though the second one really, I would say, was not his fault. What balls to just battle through, coming back, not throwing another interception, not having any critical mistakes. And again, only 8 incompletions in the whole freaking game. Just really, really impressive stuff. We saw Josh Johnson come in, and unfortunately, our boy, I think everybody's boy, Denzel Mims, dropped a ball in the end zone. I don't know what was going on with him in the end zone there, because it looked like it certainly got to his body. The ball definitely hit him. Mm-hmm. But I couldn't tell if he was either falling as the ball was about to hit him or what. Like, I don't know. It looked kind of weird, The
It
play was.
seemed that way. It seemed like he was kind of stumbling, and because like I think on some of these plays when it's designed, like Denzel Mims was the primary target on that, and he's coming across, and Josh Johnson's just waiting for him, and Denzel's like, "Oh, this is a touchdown! I've never had a touchdown before. This is
Mm-hmm.
great!" And then he's
Yep.
like, "Whoa,
Yep.
boing!" And
Lead
then
feet. Yep.
so I think there was a lot in the head. How could there not be for Mims, a
Mm-hmm.
guy who it's been a struggle to even get him on the field, and then finally on the field, it's like, great, it's unfortunate. I never want to root for injuries. Corey Davis has the hip thing this week. It sucks, but hey, next man up, opportunity, great. This is his chance to show, hey, you guys got to get me involved here. And wow, and how like weirdly like trivia night in 30 years, Denzel Mims' first touchdown came when Josh Johnson was in the game because Mike White got hurt and he threw him the touchdown. So it was this close, and of course he drops it anyway. So we're not even talking about it. But
I know.
that's a part that I loved heading in. Is that I thought whether it was Mike White, Joe Flacco, or whoever was stepping in, the key was that whoever steps in can keep the engine revving, so to speak, and get this offense moving and grooving. And by the time, in theory, that Zach Wilson is healthy and back, you can give him the keys to an already running car to jump right in so there's no slow start. So getting Elijah involved. We saw his best game of his young career.
Yeah, he played great today.
Involved. That was good. So that, to me, was really, really big. And certainly we saw that in spades.
All right, let's get to some comments because they'll throw us some takes, some questions, and we can kind of bounce around. Grant Rude, the costume is impeccable.
Phenomenal.
It is phenomenal.
Is that a Link action?
I believe it's a Link. I think he is dressed as Link, and he just looks so good. I mean, I like that it goes just high enough that it starts to get a little bit, sketchy there for a second. Grant says, initial takeaway, Jets had a quarterback that played within the system. The system did what it's supposed to do. So let's talk a little bit about this. Because Grant Rude will not mince words. He is very much an unapologized. He does not like Zach Wilson. He thinks that he was not the quarterback to select. We're not going to talk about that necessarily, not the draft. But what were your thoughts on the idea that the offense seemed to run smoother based on the idea that he's presenting here, that he played within the system and Zach maybe is trying to play outside of it? Go ahead. I'll let you talk about it.
Yeah, no, I think the thing that jumps out to me is like Mike LaFleur, in theory, any coach really, will change their system to the talent of what they have. In this particular case, when Zach Wilson's a guy, he's got a rocket launcher surgically attached to his shoulder, and he rolls out of the pocket. He has this improvisational ability to make plays. So if I'm Mike LaFleur, it's like, let's try to figure that out, put him in some of those positions, and make it work. Mike White does not have that type of engine in his Ferrari. It's kind of like a 1979 sedan, maybe. It's a good car. It gets you from A to B, but maybe not the zest, maybe not the sizzle you're looking for. So I think really it's less so, wow, Mike White listens and Zach Wilson doesn't. I don't think it's as black and white as that. For me, I think LaFleur went, okay, what can I do to put Mike White in the best position possible? He's not going to move and groove. He doesn't have that kind of ability, but can he go through his progressions quickly and do that kind of offense? That's what I thought he did. So sure, he played within the system that Mike LaFleur picked, and he gave him a lot of creativity offensively with jet sweeps, keep the defense off its feet, trick plays they went to. A lot of simple things, and Mike White wasn't afraid to, if it wasn't there, to go down short. Salah said in the postgame presser that they actually had more deep shots called, but the Bengals covered it, so Mike White went smaller and more intermediate. So to me, I think that's bigger. I think that's a bigger factor than people simply saying, again, I don't think Mike White's great game has to be paired with a Zach Wilson bashing session. I think Mike White can have his own really good game, and we talk about Mike White being fantastic without in the same breath trashing Zach Wilson. I don't think those two things are mutually exclusive.
I think that's very, very well said. And that's kind of what I kind of want to focus on that. And we can talk about Zach Wilson today. I'm not opposed to that. If people want to discuss that in the chat, that's totally fine. But I am more along the lines with you. I like to just celebrate the players that play well, and we can just, we can talk about things as they come. Zach Wilson's not going to be healthy next week, so it's better. It behooves us to talk about the guy who's going to play, and it's clearly going to be Mike White, not Joe Flacco. They hinted that they would analyze things after this game. There's no analysis necessary. They will not need to analyze this terribly long, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think this is a situation where, Adam Gase, I got to go check the tape. Got to go check the tape.
Right.
I don't think checking the tape is necessary in this particular scenario.
No, not at all. And the biggest thing, the biggest check mark that I give to Mike White, and I know we want to see it more from Zach moving forward. And again, that's not a bash on him, but the decisiveness and the getting off of reads that aren't there and just being able to get the ball out nice and quickly. But having said that, though, the offensive line, I thought in general, pass blocked quite nicely today. He had a pocket, and there were times where he was able to hold the ball and really have time to make reads. I still really hate watching Greg Van Roten. There was a play early in the game where they ran a toss play on the right side, and he was pulling. And I don't typically watch Greg Van Roten because it's not necessarily a highlight reel waiting to happen. But I did, my eye, like a bug, I like followed the bug, and the bug got squashed. Basically, he just stood there and did nothing. He did not make any contact with anybody, just looking for somebody to block. I was very disappointed to see that. But overall, the offensive line did their job today with the pass protection and the run game, actually, to be fair.
No, I would agree. The only thing I would say is, okay, so we can't replace Greg Van Roten in the middle of this year. Fine. If that's the case, there's literally no one else on the planet that you can get right now to do it. Fine. I'm cool with that. Then just don't run towards Greg Van Roten. Just technically, according to the NFL rulebook, you have to have, in most scenarios, 5 offensive linemen on the field. Fine. Put him over there. Okay, we're going to run over here. Like, I just, that's a thing for me. Yes. Greg Van Roten is disgusting. I can't wait till he's off this team and he retires and go and, don't quit your day job sort of thing. But in this case, please quit your day job and do anything else. But, that to me is just let's run away from Greg Van Roten. That should be the plan.
It really, really should. Before we move off of the offensive line, I do want to get to this comment, and then we'll go ahead and talk a little bit more O-line because there's another storyline there from the game. Not necessarily great. Hype highlights. He says, I know how good Mike White was, but it's only one game. Let's take a reality check. Are we ready to forget about our second overall draft pick? And I think that's where, and I don't want to speak for you, Paul, but I think that's where our mindset is. Let's analyze things as we go. Because again, great game. And man, did he look good in this game. But it is only just one game. We've seen players who don't necessarily go on to do much in the NFL have really outstanding football games. They play great in some games, and then they just kind of don't do a whole lot else. It just happens. So I am not going to speed through this through this ride. I'm going to let it go slowly. What do you think about that? Same thing, right?
The thing that I'm confused about, John, is you are speaking gospel. You are speaking truths. The words that are coming out of your mouth are yes. But the thing that gives me pause, because, again, before we heard any Robert Saleh press conference, I'm like, one game, phenomenal, but he proved what we want him to. A guy in a pinch can step in and be what we were hoping is serviceable. He was spectacular. Great. That's what we want. The Jets haven't had a long-term backup in a long time. The thing that gives me pause is Robert Saleh. Hey, do you think Mike White could be the long-term answer?
I heard that.
So before he even opens his mouth, the thing I assumed he was going to say is, no, great effort by Mike. It's one game. Zach Wilson's our guy. We took him number 2 overall for a reason. He's our guy. But great job by Mike White stepping in. That's what I thought he was going to say. That's not what he said. What Robert Saleh said after that is, well, anything's possible, right? And then he went on this diatribe about, the difference between player A and player Z is opportunity and reps. And, hey, Mike White's got the world in front of him. Let's see what he does. And I went, excuse me? So he just, quarterback controversy, like, for no reason. Like, say what I say. Hire me as your PR guy. I'll get paid more. That's the thing that was baffling. To your point, Mike White, one game. One game. I love it. It was spectacular. It was exciting. But one stupid game, man. Why would you say that? Are you pumping up his self-esteem heading into a Thursday night football game? Okay. Mm-hmm. But besides that, that to me is nuts. If I'm Zach Wilson, I'm like, what the hell? Like, it's obtuse. It's strange. I did not understand the comment. And I thought I would sometimes I see a comment, I'm like, oh, only I saw it that way. And then I just wrote a piece. I just shared it out. DJ Bieniemy, quarterback controversy. Rich Cimini, quarterback controversy. Connor Hughes, quarterback controversy. They all took the same thing away that I did after hearing that comment. Weird. He
Yeah.
went out of his way to potentially just stoke the flames. Even Mike White could suck on Thursday night. I have no idea what's going to happen. He could be terrible, and then all of a sudden, just kidding. It's Zach Wilson's show. But it's just weird the way he said that.
Yeah, I can't think of the motivation for Saleh to say that. I think maybe along what you said, maybe he's just trying to keep Mike White focused
Sure.
and keep the carrot dangling, basically. Like,
Yes.
hey, if you play balls out and you just ball out all the time, you probably are going to keep your job if you're throwing for 400 yards every week.
Right.
But yeah, it seemed odd that he did that. You would have thought he would have just said, well, this is only one game, guys. Let's slow our roll a little bit here. He sure didn't say that though, and I almost forgot. I'm glad you brought it up. That was very interesting that he did that. There was, by the way, the chat is just going ballistic here. I'm not keeping up with you guys at all. I do apologize. I'm trying to go back and forth between you.
Let me just jump in to say, like the video, if you guys are watching right now, smash that gosh darn thumbs up button and hit the subscribe button, that big red button. All you guys are watching right now, what are you doing? Hit that button, hit the thumbs up right friggin' now, man.
I appreciate that. All right. The only other thing they are hitting that like button now. The only thing I was gonna say was the potential injury to George Fant. That sucked. That sucks in general, and I don't think Becton's going to be ready this coming week, and we really don't even know the timeline. So I can't say that Udoka played poorly. He did have the one penalty that stuck out in my mind, but overall he seemed okay. Pass protection-wise, didn't really seem like he was getting completely bullied around. But that's got to be a factor going into this Thursday night game if George Fant is not able to play. What are your thoughts on that? I'm going to skim through the comments here while you're talking.
Yeah. We'll multitask here. That's what this two-man operation is all about. I will say, from the George Fant perspective, he's a guy that got trashed because he was the ugly stepsister. It's like you're going to prom and you pick the superstar model you want to go with. You say, hey, baby, you want to go to the prom? And Jack Conklin, what's that supermodel? No, I don't want to go with you, Jets. You're like, And then you see George Fant in the corner, you're like, you want to dance? And then Fant's like, okay. And then it wasn't sexy. It wasn't spectacular, but you tried out Fant, and guess what? It worked out better than you thought. Fans were criticizing that move left and right. And guess what? Fant has been serviceable. People don't want to say it, but it's the gosh darn truth. Fant's been the real deal. Has he been a superstar? No. Has he been crap? No. He's been average. Very solid, especially in this scheme that highlights his athleticism. So he's been great at right tackle his first year. Forcibly has to jump over to left with Mekhi Becton injured, and he's held down the fort, doing exactly what you would expect of a veteran. So Fant's been arguably one of their best linemen. Elijah Tucker's getting better with more reps because, again, he missed all of the offseason essentially with that hurt pec. But George Fant, realistically, has been one of the best offensive linemen on this team. So, with him being wiped off the board, initially he's able to walk off under his own power, but he's grimacing. You could see it. And then eventually he had to be carted to the locker room once he got to the sideline. So, brutal, and then eventually they rolled him out pretty quickly, which is not a good sign. Short week, I would imagine, outside of some sort of miracle, that Fant is likely out for Thursday night, which means Chuma Edoga, a former third-round pick out of USC, is going to be the guy. It's just a brutal loss, though. Think about the injuries. Mekhi Becton, and then this. Now you're on your third left tackle of the season. Not ideal, by any means.
No, the injuries have been really, really rough. Don't want to cry over spilt milk, though, because it's pretty much everybody's dealing with it. But you are 100% right. This is a tough loss, especially on a short week. I think you said that. If you did,
yes, yep.
If you did, I apologize for repeating. All right, we got some great comments, and people are really upset that we have not talked any words about Bryce Hall. So we're going to move towards that. But I'm going to get to just this first comment. Who day, going to beat them Bengals?
That's phenomenal. And by the way, I don't know if you guys saw this, but one of the things I like to do for my Twitter account, again, @BoyGreen25, one of the things I like to do is watch what the other team's press conferences are saying about the Jets. I don't see anyone else cover it, so I always find it interesting. So I listen to their press conferences when they talk about the Jets. And Zach Taylor last week, interestingly enough, he was asked about the Jets, and he said, "Boy, man, this Jets team is quote unquote on the verge of a massive winning streak. We just hope it's not against us." Now, I share some of these videos, and these people end up saying like, "It's coach speak. What else are they going to say?" And I'm like, no, it's just always interesting that they say it. I tweet out the video, and it goes viral, right? It's got like 14,000 views, and everyone's going, "Oh yeah, real. How much money did the Jets pay you, Zach Taylor?" And now look, winning streak? I don't know. This Colts team just lost in overtime. They're not spectacular. And then you see all those other games in the future. If you squint your eyes, Houston, Jacksonville, Miami twice. I don't know. I didn't say winning streak, but I did not say winning streak. That's all I'm saying. And it's creating a little buzz out there, man. So who
I,
day? Who day?
I love it. I love the fact that a very good win can really lift our spirits. I mean, Jets fans are going to rally around the team. If they give us even just the sliver of hope like they've done
That's all it
today,
takes.
it's all it takes, man. All right, so Jets gang, he says Bryce Hall is our best cornerback. I mean, how could you not be impressed? I know that, Jamar Chase, I know that he had the one drop in the end zone, ended up scoring later in the game, but he was held to only 3 receptions in this football game. Dude, Bryce Hall is legit. And I think that we can say the same thing for Brandon Eccles. He did well. I mean, there were a couple of plays where these guys let up. But listen, you're not going to Darrelle Revis these guys into oblivion. This is a damn good
Right.
passing attack, quarterback, running game. The wide receiver trio that they have is outstanding. T. Higgins,
Mm-hmm.
Jamar Chase, and then the other dude, I can't remember his name
Tyler
off the top.
Boyd.
Thank you very much. Tyler Boyd. I mean, that's really, really good weaponry. Talk a little bit about Bryce Hall and the secondary, the job that they did in limiting their passing game.
Again, I can't take enough L's. My job is to go on every possible Jets content creator program and just take an L and allow your fans and followers and subscribers to pelt me with rocks and heavy objects that are near them. So
We
just
we
let it happen.
all
It's how we did it in the old days. Just take care of it and throw them at my limp carcass because I couldn't be more wrong. I couldn't have been. And again, I'm taking L's forever now. I question the cornerback group. I'm like, Jesus, Robert Sala, I get faith. Okay, you want to have faith in your guys? Sure. What else are you going to say? They suck? No. Like, I'm like, man, this quarterback crew is about to be crucified. They are going to they're going to go through the gambit. And it's not even that the Jets are facing, like, before the year, like upper tier crazy quarterbacks like Mahomes and all these other guys,
Mhm.
but it just felt like, man, they're just so inexperienced. That's so wild. But again, that Salah belief. He believed in Mike White being the backup quarterback. We all questioned it. He believed in this cornerback group. And up until like last week or the week before, they were the only quarterback group in the entire NFL not to allow a passing touchdown. This cornerback group in particular. So I mean, they've been spectacular. I'm eating L's. I loved Bryce Hall. I didn't know he was going to be this good, but I really liked him coming out of the draft. It was one of my favorite draft picks of the Jets in 2020. And then everything he was heading into this year, I thought he was going to be great. But Jamar Chase, I mean, wow, this group is dynamic. Cincinnati has one of the deepest wide receiving corps in the NFL with T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Jamar Chase. And by the way, Jamar Chase can't catch. We all knew it. No, I'm just kidding. But I know people are saying that in the opposite. But the point is like spectacular. They gave up a couple of plays. The T. Higgins long ball, they gave him up. But you're going to when you have receivers that are this talented. But, man, Bryce Hall deserves all the credit in the world. Brandon Eccles as well. He was on an island a couple of times, one-on-one,
Mhm.
with T. Higgins, made some good plays, used the sideline. That's what Revis was so good about. That was his extra friend. It was almost like 2-on-1 on a receiver. When you lean your body in, and, again, it's little nuances to the game. These young guys are getting it. This experience right now is so invaluable moving forward. Bryce Hall's a stud, man.
Yeah, dude, I'm very excited about it. And I think again, I don't hear this from people in the chat ever, but there may be people out there that say to themselves, "Oh, he has 0 interceptions. He's not making an impact." This is not that case. Like you don't necessarily scoff at a cornerback that's got 5 to 6 interceptions at this point in the season. But the idea is they're not necessarily throwing it his way a whole lot either. I'm very, very encouraged, and Jamar Chase has been just dominating this season. Over 750 yards coming into the game. tip of the cap to Jeff Ulbrich for getting these guys, getting their heads screwed back on after this past week. And I will give compliments when they're due. I was very, very skeptical of the coaching staff. I was just wondering, where are we headed right now? And it seemed like this was even more so than the Titans game. This was their best game coaching wise, play calling and adjustments. Just a fantastic, fantastic job. And as we talked about earlier, the team played like their hair was on fire. And that's what we want to see. We don't necessarily have to win all of these close games and we win every week, but we want to see them really, really competing. And that's so encouraging to see them do after such a tough game. NY Jets Florida, he says, can we make a run? We talked a little bit about that. We can maybe go a little bit deeper on that. What are we really expecting moving forward? And then also he says maybe we are buyers at the trade deadline. I personally don't see that happening. I would love for us to make a move for a tight end, but they're not going to do that. They will not. I would love it if they did. I would be very surprised if they did it, but they're just not, I don't think. So, Paul, what do you think? Can we make a run? What kind of run? Go ahead.
Okay, first off, we couldn't be any closer, more simpatico on tight ends, please, for the love of God. OJ Howard, Evan Ingram, whoever your guys, I don't care. Just a dart throw, something. But I will say, nice touchdown reception by Tyler Crawford, who's dealing with a very serious back injury. He was able to make it back and some big plays on both blocking and receiving. Mm-hmm. So that was good to see. But overall, I don't expect them to be buyers. It's something I would want, but I don't think they're going to end up doing that. I think, if anything, Joe Douglas may flip a couple, although it seems less likely now with Jamison Crowder, the former quarterback background, and they seem to really enjoy him, and they get to use him in some of those kind of crazy wildcat plays and things of that nature. So, in terms of, buying, I don't see that happening. But in terms of a run, I mean, I will say this. Before the year, okay, my record prediction for the Jets was 10-7. Now, people may say you are crazy. Now, I'll also say this. What's their record now? What are they, 2-5? Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, it sounds like 10-7 could still happen, John. I don't know. I'm not a rocket scientist, but it sounds like that just a late bloomer prediction is all it is. So,
yeah, right.
Can they make a run? Yes, they can make a run. They could win the Super Bowl. Anything is possible. Did you hear Robert Saleh in that post-game presser? Anything's possible, right? I'm going to clip that and use that in life. Anything's possible, right? When people ask me questions from here on out. Yes, there is a lot of winnable games on the schedule, but for the Jets, it's about kind of connecting the dots here. We have the Tennessee win, spectacular. The Bengals win, spectacular. But there's no streaky. That's the next step for the coaching staff, is connecting the dots. They say, and they're saying the right things, right? Like, so after this game, sometimes we're going to look like a Super Bowl contender, sometimes we're going to look like we suck. Okay, that's what you want to say instead of him going, yeah, we beat the Bengals, yeah, we're awesome, right? He's not saying those things, so he's minding his own business with the words. But now it's time to see that in productivity. They have a short week against the Colts. You put 2 wins together, okay, now you're starting to get believers. They haven't won 2 games in a row yet this season. Obviously, they only have 2 wins total, which has matched last year's win total. So, interesting fun fact. But nonetheless, yes, I think this team can go on a run. The games are imminently winnable, but it's up to the Jets to manifest that instead of us just speaking it.
Oh, man. I actually predict us to go 9-8 going into the year.
Hey, you're right
so
there.
We're right there. There's a lot of great comments, and I'm with you. So I don't think we're going to go on a run that's going to put us, and I'm not saying that you think that it is likely that it will happen. You're saying it could happen.
Sure.
I'm going to go ahead and say that they can go on a run at some point during the season and push a little further than maybe what we had thought, coming out of that Patriots game. I was prepared for a top 5 pick. I had convinced myself. I was like, all right, we're definitely on the way to that. They can win some football games this season. And I had said that coming out of the Titans game. I thought that there were still some games that are winnable on the schedule. So it just depends on your definition of a run. Can we make a run and win, another 4 to 5 games? I think absolutely yes. There's no doubt in my mind we can win another 4 to 5 games for sure. And again, if we get some momentum, if we can string some wins together, and if we get some players that are banged up back, we get Zach Wilson in there and start to vibe a little bit offensively, the play calling, all of it, man. I mean, if we can get those things connected a little bit more as the season goes on, why not? Why the hell not? So
the only thing I'm asking for, and I don't feel like it's a lot, maybe you can help me out here, John, is that when you're watching football games at the end, because you're a graphic wizard here with all this stuff happening, scrolling tickers and things blowing up and minimizing all over the place. You're a wizard over there.
Yes.
Is that at the end of NFL games, they have this thing that's called In the Hunt, okay? Mm-hmm. At the end of games, they're like, hey, man, oh, wow, looks like the Jets are going to win this game. This guy's going to lose this game. Hey, wait a second here. Look at this. The Jets are in the hunt. That's what I want. I want them on that screen. It features like 20 teams. I'm not asking for much here. I just want them in the hunt. What does that mean? I don't even know what that means. But apparently it means you're close. Like, here's the 7 playoff teams. Oh, in the hunt, this little bar. I want the Jets in that bar. Normally, over the last couple of years, especially with their horrible record in both September and October, which we're about to leave tonight officially, thank God. November's tomorrow. I can't believe it, but that's great.
It's crazy.
Is that you're in the conversation. The Jets have just been out of the conversation. I think the number was, and it's a couple weeks old now, and now they got the win and a couple losses in between, but the record was like 1-20 in September and October of the last 2 years. How can you compete when you have that disgusting record on the docket? So for me, if they could start pairing stuff together, I just want to be in the hunt. Put me on that screen. If they end up going, I don't know, we got to get all the new records, right? So 7-10 or 6-11, it's still gross, but whatever those are, but they're competing. That's what we want to see. That's what we want to see.
All right. Well said. All right. We're going to go to the chat almost exclusively here. I'm just going to read some comments, guys. Right. And by the way, there's a bunch of you in here. If you have not already, please consider hitting that like button for us. We'd really appreciate that. And if you have not checked out Boy Green 20, is Boy Green 25 on Twitter?
You betcha. It's Boy Green 25 everywhere. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the YouTube, all of it.
The YouTube. Go ahead and find him on YouTube, guys, and please consider subscribing to his channel as well. So Uptown NYC, he says, can't say if Mike White is the real deal. Too early based off of one great game, but I do know one thing. Keep LaFleur upstairs and weld the door shut.
That's terrific. What took so long? So Mike LaFleur, we get interviews with him at the press conference. He's like, what would you prefer, Mike? I'd really like to be up in the booth. So LaFleur leaves the room. Saleh comes in. We really want him on the field. Zach Wilson comes in. We really want him on the field. And then it's like Saleh and Wilson bullied LaFleur saying, you got to stay on the field for me. And I'm like, and then game after game, all this ineptitude. I'm like, guys, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. What the hell? And then finally this time, LaFleur is up in the booth and suddenly the offense is great. Coincidence? I think not. But the point is that after the game, which was fascinating and also weirdly, seemingly throwing Zach Wilson under the bus. I mean, you can kind of interpret that how you will. They said, why was LaFleur up in the booth? He said, Mike White didn't need a guy down on the field. He was good. So, again, that was also like a weird shade. Like, why even say it like that? I feel like you could have worded that differently. The point is keep him up there, and Saleh jokingly at the end said, after 500 yards of offense, yeah, we're going to keep him up there. But weld the door shut, lock him in. I was saying it on my post-game stream after the game, make it prison style. Have a little tray that you can slide in food and water and like a bucket so he can use the bathroom. Keep him in there permanently.
Yeah, you need to keep him happy. You're saying the little door, throw in some of his favorite snacks, whatever he needs.
That's it.
Mr. Magix, he says, what happened to Connor McDermott? I thought that he was better than Edoga. So currently, McDermott is still ailing from an injury, I believe, from preseason game number 2, I think, against the Packers. So he would probably have been in there, but he's just not healthy. That's the issue with that. Yeah, everybody's agreeing. Keep LaFleur upstairs.
It's so awesome.
Oh my gosh. Winston Smith with a really nice. I like the optimistic approach. He says This win feels like it's franchise altering. We've got our mojo now. And I felt like that coming out of the Titans game. It felt like there was some swagger, and I felt you talking about taking L's. I
Yeah.
was so outrageously confident, and I said to myself, "We're gonna beat the shit out of the Falcons." I said those things actually.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Sure didn't work out that way, but I felt really confident going into that football game. Did not end up working out in my favor.
I felt the same way. I was like, oh man. So again, it just takes that one sliver, and then we all start going crazy, right? The Tennessee game happens. I'm like, oh booyah! They beat the Falcons. They annihilate that garbage team. Go into the bye, come back out New England, beat them. Boom, Super Bowl. And
Right.
then all of a sudden they get trounced by Atlanta. Again, they made it a game at the end, but it was just gross. Again, that first half nonsense. But that was another one.
Yes. So real quick, I'm jumping to the bottom of the comments here. Thomas, yes, Idoga was fairly solid, so we're not hating on him. He was fine.
Fine.
I
There
did.
was a couple of times he got blown the heck up, and like
Oh,
Michael
did he?
Wright is like, "Oh Jesus!" Like. But overall, I mean, all things considered, getting chucked out in the middle of the game. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, Idoga was fine. Unfortunately, he's disappointed. I had so many great people whispering in my ear when he was drafted. Jim Nagy, Senior Bowl director. Executive director, he spoke to me and said, "Hey, watch out for Idoga." He was our like practice player of the week leading in and said, man, great things about him. He could be great for you guys. And unfortunately, it just injuries and everything else, it has not come to fruition, but we'll keep an eye on it.
Uh, Grant Roots, he's cursing you. He says, "Damn it,
Yeah.
Paul. Now I'll be spending more time checking in on what the opposing team is saying. Like I didn't spend too much time on football already. Thanks a lot."
Yeah, I would suggest not doing it, quite frankly, and just try to get me to do it all for you. Because I'm going to be honest, it's a lot. Because like Saleh, if you just take it from a Jets perspective, Saleh does two press conferences a week. He does the Monday and then normally the Thursday and Wednesday for that matter. So there's like multiple. There's like two and then all the players, right? So I'm digging through all that garbaggio for whoever. So the Bengals, Joe Burrow speaks, this guy speaks. So I'm trying to get someone to either trash on Zach Wilson or someone say something saucy, and I'm like, oh, I could bring that clip to social media. So it's a lot of just seeing a lot of crap through. So you may as well just let me do it for you. Save the
Yeah,
time.
I hear you on that one for sure. There are definitely times where I'm like doing things and I'm like, I don't feel like I like doing what I'm doing, but this is like, God darn it, I just want to do something else.
Of course.
Jason Rhodes, he says, I want to see Bryce Hall shut down Michael Pittman Jr. They have no one else. I believe T.Y. Hilton is hurt. I don't know if I
Again,
can say they don't have anybody else because they've got two awesome backs in God, he's on my
Jonathan
fantasy.
Taylor.
Yes, JT, and then also the nifty guy, Naheem Hines.
Naeem Hines, yeah. Yep.
They both are very dynamic and they present a problem for our defense, I think. But I do hear what you're saying, Jason Rhodes. Receiver wise,
Yeah.
if we can limit Michael Pittman Jr., that's going to really hurt their offense, and I think we will. I think based on what we've seen from Bryce Hall and from Brandon Eccles and company, I don't think there's any reason why we can't limit Michael Pittman Jr. He's having a
It'll
pretty
be
good year,
tough
though.
because, well, not from Pittman, of course, is that long lost lover that went away. That what if, if I would have dated her in high school, how would my life have turned around? Because like Pittman, I wanted so bad in the draft, and then of course the Jets didn't get Pittman. More disappointment in my life. And then seeing him as a budding star with Indianapolis has been tough to see from afar. So he's impressive, but the Jets finally ended the interception drought. Thank God, Shaq Lawson got it. That was so embarrassing for so long. And looking ahead to Thursday, Carson Wentz this year is maybe, I don't know everything that happened today with the Colts game. I know he threw a couple, so he's got like maybe 3 or 4 picks on the year. He doesn't throw a lot of picks. He has in years prior, but he hasn't this year. He's done a really good job of holding on to the ball. So that'll be tough to keep that streak now after the drought going on Thursday Night Football.
You're right. He had one interception entering today, and I believe he threw two today. So
Wow, there you go. 3. Okay.
pretty impressive start to the year from him. And the Colts just they can't get a couple of wins themselves strung together. They're 3-5 now. I believe that's their record, right? 3-5
That's
for
right.
the Colts.
Yep.
All right. No pain, no gain. He says not to sound pessimistic because I'm thrilled that we won, but if they win against the Colts, then I believe we really have something going right now. If not, then I don't know what to say anymore. That's the problem. It's going to be a roller coaster at some point this season, even if we do beat the Colts, and God help us if we beat the Bills.
Oh.
There's going to be some dips at some point during the season. We just kind of have to hang on, literally like a roller coaster ride. I got to wait for them and anticipate them.
Although seeing Buffalo kind of struggle against a bad Miami team, they ultimately ended up pulling it out and covering the spread too. But man, that Bills team looked like it could be had. And I don't know if Robert Saleh has all the defensive wizardry to try to do some of the same stuff he did to disrupt Joe Burrow. But wow, yeah, that could be juicy. And I'd love nothing more than to give it to Buffalo. That's for sure.
Oh my God, I would love to beat Buffalo.
Yeah,
This is a great, maybe I've heard this before, but I'm now being
heard
reminded of
that.
it.
Heard this
The,
one before.
the Hall Monitor.
I love that. That's so great. And like I said, I have not heard that one before. That's phenomenal. And I love like nicknames. Like we had Revis Island and we had Alcatraz and we had Kayak Kyle Wilson for a little while. That one didn't last, but Hall Monitor. That's a good one. That's a
I
good one.
love it. And I am from the elementary background. That is my field of expertise. So the Hall Monitor one rings true for me,
Ah, yes.
especially.
Yeah.
Grant Root, he says cornerback room has far exceeded my expectations, but I still have my doubts. I'll continue to be happy being proven wrong, which is the case for every Jets fan. And if you're not happy to be wrong and it's a positive, you're just a weirdo, in my opinion. Just to be.
But how do you still have doubts? Like Grant, I'm not trying to call you out here, but Cincinnati, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, like again, they exceeded my expectations, and I said the same thing as you in the beginning. You're like, okay, let's see it against other people, and then it kept happening, kept happening, kept happening. I'm like, okay, that's enough. I'm done. And then, so you're still holding out this hope, like that you could be right. I don't know, man. To me, this game was it. This one, I'm like, okay. Jamar Chase. Let's see how you do there, pal. Or T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. And again, there was pops, but hell no, there is. I'm good. I'm wrong. I'm good. Let's move on. Yes.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of the way that this defense is schemed up, is that there will be plays that the receivers are going to make, and that's the case with any defensive scheme. But the idea is that they do not allow the explosive plays. And I think that's ultimately why we had some success today defensively, is because we were taking away the thing that they love to do the most, which is to go down the field. So kudos to the defense. And again, I hope that the players see that it works and they buy in even more to it. I think it's just all good things. McDonald Grisette, Mike White looks great. We are very encouraged by it, and we are going to take it one game at a time, man, because if he keeps rolling, man, then it's a plus. Like, don't kid yourself. If Mike White plays great, that is not a bad thing for the New York Jets. That is not a bad thing. And anybody who suggests that it might be, silly. Don't be like that. It's a good thing. It's never a bad thing.
For the guy, man. So happy. Like, go to the Jets Twitter account and see the post-game thing where Robert Saleh goes, I only have one freaking game ball, and he starts reading off his stats, and the locker room goes crazy, and then Mike White gives, like, this politically correct answer, everyone just did their job today, and they were, like, clowning him, like, come on, dude, like, let's go. It was just, oh, God, to me, those are the cool moments, man. So happy for the kid. He finally gets his chance, and he took advantage of it.
Yep. And he acknowledged it leading up to the game. He's like, I'm starting an NFL game, man. He's like, this is the best. Like, he's just like, this is so cool. Yeah. Rick Fisher says, is the writing on the wall for Marcus May? Let's talk about old Marcus May, because there was a play where some people were saying that he got burned. I think it was actually Ashton Davis's responsibility. Believe the play was toward the sideline. Marcus May was the single high safety.
Right, and he flipped his hips to try to cover,
Mm-hmm. So we'll just talk a little bit about Marcus. What are your thoughts, expectations for him as the deadline? Isn't it like Tuesday?
Tuesday, that's correct.
So what do you think? What's going to happen? What do you predict?
Nothing is ever easy with the Jets. I guess we all know this as content creators, certainly, and Jet fans and everything else. Like, the thing is, you trade away Jamal Adams, because, like, even before that, right? Oh, Jamal Adams, Marcus May, what a great safety tandem. It's going to be for a decade, man. Jamal Adams gets traded away. Well, we got the better safety. We got Marcus May. He's going to be great, man. Oh, agent tweeting out a hidden DUI situation that he hid from the team, and it said, oh, yeah, whoops, I did that in February. What? I just... all of it, and then the injury, and then as soon as he gets injured, we're like, oh no, he's been playing well. His injury goes, should be healthy in time for the trade deadline. I'm like, what a dick comment. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
all of it for me, again, we'll see the value. It seems like the Jets are looking for, depending on the source of your information, SNY reports that the Jets are looking for at least a third round pick. Rich Cimini says that the Jets are looking for a second or third, so it's all kind of the same conversation, just in different areas. To me, I think the writing is on the wall. I think if you're the Jets and you can get any kind of deal, and I think they can get that deal, the secret sauce, of course, is eating some of the salary. He's owed still another $6 million and change on the franchise tag for the remainder of the regular season. So for me, if I'm the Jets, I eat half of that, 60% of it, 70% of it maybe. If I could get a day two pick, which is a second or third, and they already have two firsts next year, they have two seconds next year, they have multiple picks in basically every round. To me, I would add an asset to the treasure chest, so to speak. I think the writing's on the wall. Play the younger guys. He doesn't want to be there. He's 28 years old. If you play him out the rest of the year, again, he's playing well. But to me, you franchise tag him again, it's more drama. Rid yourself of this, get the pick, move on. You invest a second round pick in him initially. If you could get anywhere close to that after, kind of spanning his career, I think to me that's a solid play. So the writing is clearly on the wall for me. They should try to get rid of him by the deadline.
I agree as well. I think that it's tricky because we're not in a position that, the most likely scenario is we're not making the playoffs.
Right.
And does anybody really expect him to be brought back if he's not traded? That's the question. I don't think they would tag him again because I don't even think he's worth that price tag for that single season. He just hasn't made a lot of plays for us this year, and I know it's a young football team, and maybe if it were a different setup for him, if he was on a veteran club, maybe he'd make some more plays, but he just doesn't do a whole lot in terms of, forcing fumbles, just making plays, creating turnovers. I know that's not specifically his only job, but just to me personally, I feel like that's a guy that you could move on from. It's certainly going to hurt the team in the short term, but long term, I think it benefits. And you said it best. We drafted him with a second round pick. He's been with the team now. This is, I think 5 or 6 years.
I believe this is, would this be fifth after the rookie contract? His second rounders get a 4-year deal. So I think this is his 5th year, if I have that right.
Yeah, I think so too. So good investment, and you got what you needed out of him. And I'd say the third round pick, I would definitely take that swing for sure. All right, cool. There's an interesting poll right now in the comments. If you haven't voted on it, please do so because we've got a very interesting result here. And if you guys haven't, we said it earlier. If you haven't hit the like button, please do so. Check out Boy Green 25. Those are all of his tags. YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, all of them. Go find him if you haven't already. Here is that here is that poll.
Yep.
And people are saying he's got potential, legit potential. Majority of the votes are suggesting he is the man. And
wow.
And if not, the second vote getter is he's at least going to be a solid career backup in the National Football League. So interesting to see that.
I take either, man. I'm going to be honest. Obviously, if somehow, and someone mentioned this, and I don't know why it didn't hit my brain. So Zach Wilson gets hurt in the New England game. Mm-hmm. Mike White comes in, looks okay, right? Unfortunately, a couple things go off, but he looks okay. He belongs a little bit. And then 20 years after, it's just very eerie. Could they have found their Tom Brady, which again, Tom Brady, 7 Super Bowls, all that, but their own weird version of it. But again, Zach Wilson was also the number 2 pick. So it's all fascinating. But to me, if he's just a long-term backup, to me, I'm dancing a storm. Phenomenal. They haven't had a viable backup in a long time. They had that crazy record. Rich and me tweeted out they were 0-14 or something with backup quarterbacks having to step in over the last couple of years. I mean, that's terrible. You want a guy that could step in a pinch. If Mike White can be at least that, I think you're spectacular. If he's better than that, to me, that's all gravy.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think that's the thing that people get a little bit confused on is not every, and I know he's not one of the Jets draft picks, but not every player turns into a bona fide stud starter in the National Football League. You need to fill out your whole roster. And so if he is a plus backup, that's a check. Yes. In my house, we give out checks. That's a check.
I like that.
Jeremy Cravat, he says, AVT looked legit today. Can't wait to see him with a 100% ramped up Becton. We have to hope and we have to assume that Becton is definitely hearing these things that are being reported about him, true or not true. You
Yeah.
have to think that he definitely is hearing about it. Why don't you talk a little bit about that? Because um, the reporting, and if you didn't hear about it, is that Becton is potentially taking plays off. The coaching staff identified that potentially as well. The weight that he came into camp this year, he had ballooned up to 380. That's the reporting as well during the off season. Talk a little bit about that, Paul.
Yeah, it was a intense report that kind of came out of nowhere from the Pro Football Network, and
Mm-hmm.
yes, that from Tony Pauline, and I know some people that's a polarizing name among Jet fans because he's swung and missed on a lot of things, but he's also gotten some things right. So take that for what you will. But yeah, there was maturity questions, laziness questions, weight questions, a little bit of everything coming from this report. Again, whether it's true or false, Mekhi Becton was randomly tweeting during the game, and he said, there are three sides to every story, and also said, he had another tweet earlier saying that like he's going to tell his side of the story soon about it, and that don't believe everything you read. So obviously he must have seen the report because he was
Mm-hmm.
tweeting random things about it. But yeah, I mean, if those things are true or not, I mean, it's up to Becton to prove them wrong, right? Like he missed basically officially on the scorecard, he only missed 2 games last year, but really he missed 5 if you combine them all, because he started games and then just left immediately several times. And then all the games that are counting now. He didn't play today, obviously, and he's not going to play on Thursday night. So, the scorecard's running up. The tap out thing, I got to imagine as a player, there's no worse insult in the world that you can get than people questioning your toughness and whether or not you tap out or not. You got your money, you secured the bag, and you don't give a flying hoot anymore. So if I'm Becton, this is as motivating material as I could possibly receive. But on the ABT thing, ABT looks like a stud. He was a guy I loved in the draft, trading up. I know that bothered some people. It didn't bother me. I would have given up even more for ABT. And for any Jet fan who's seen their offensive line, that argue the other side is like bonkers to me, because like that to me was an absolute home run. So he's looked like a stud. The more he's played, the better he's been. That doesn't surprise me. He was a little rusty at first. Why wouldn't he be? He missed most of the offseason. But I want to pair him up with Becton. Jeremy, I think Jeremy was the one who brought that up. I do want to see what he can bring to the table. And the first things first is the best ability is availability. Let's see if Becton can stay on the field when he gets back.
Yeah, he needs to be healthy. He needs to stay healthy. We all acknowledge that the play that he got hurt on, anybody would have been hurt on that play because he
Yeah,
definitely got hit. I mean, there's nobody who survives that hit.
yeah, right.
Uh, but whether it's bad luck or not, he has to be on the field. It doesn't matter what it was. And if he gets on the field and he plays the way we've seen him play in the past, the potential that he's shown, we're in business again. I feel like, we're good. And listen, man, sometimes this kind of stuff ignites a fire, and I'm optimistic and I'm hopeful that this pisses him off, man. I really do. And when he comes back, he's going to be not only, healthy and happy to be playing, but he's also going to be chip on the shoulder, a big chip though, because he's a pretty big guy. He can carry a pretty large chip.
Yeah.
Joe Campione asks a question. He says, "Are AVT and Hall playing at Pro Bowl levels?" What do you think? I'm not sure if they're at that status quite yet. I think that Bryce Hall's never going to get that recognition just because of the lack of interceptions. But they're both quality players. What do you think?
AVT for sure. Again, we will see. Ultimately, the Pro Bowl voting will open up here in a couple of weeks, both publicly because they have a coaches, players, fans, so everyone will have an opportunity to get involved. Elijah Ritchuk would not surprise me if he is a Pro Bowler. Hall, you already said it, John. Like he won't unless the numbers wildly increase. Again, where Sunday Night Football's on in our background here is that Trayvon Diggs is intercepting passes like Dick Night Train Lane left and right. Like, if he starts doing that, okay. But besides that, no, he's not going to get that. Because, again, nationally, I hear all kinds of national shows because I'm an NFL fan on top of just being a Jets fan. And when the Jets are brought up, they got Bryce Hall this week. Like, they don't pay attention. They just see the name, and the name gives them no value when it goes up to their noggin that they just say, oh, easy, like fantasy shows. Ah, great, Bryce Hall this week. Toast. They're going to light him up. Jamar Chase. That's what they said. Oh, wow. Who? Bryce Hall? They're going to light him up. So I do not believe. Obviously, he doesn't have the respect among national media. He's got to earn it. and he hasn't yet. Elijah Vera-Tucker for sure. I think there's a lot of buzz about him in NFL circles, not so much for Hall. But we love him ourselves, and that's more than good enough for me.
I think that's definitely the way I see it. I'm not too worried about Pro Bowl. I know it's nice. We certainly haven't had a whole lot of Pro Bowlers, and it would be nice to flip that script just because we'd be
Yes.
trending towards what we ultimately want to be, which is a solid football team with multiple good players. But I'm not in any rush for that. Typically, it's a popularity thing. Like there's a lot of players that get nominated and that go because they are just a recognizable name. So I'm not too worried about that one. Robbie Oak with a great comment. I forgot about this. I'm glad you brought it up,
Yes.
Robbie Oak. Solid point. He said, can we mention the Elijah Moore chase down on the interception return? Mims got there too. They saved the touchdown and then a massive goal line stand. I'm sure that the coaching staff will take time to go to those boys. That's what they are. They're boys. They're young men. I shouldn't say boys. These young men, and really make it an emphasis and say like these are the little details that ultimately win and lose games. So, what are your thoughts on just the hustle? I mean, I know it's kind of obvious. Like we're really happy about it, but what does it say to you?
I'm such an idiot, man. I just did like this phenomenal 45-minute post game stream. I take notes during games because I'm a weirdo. And, like, of course, when that happened, I'm like, whoop, that's a big deal. And, I, again, have this whole great 45-minute post game show. If any of you subscribed, unsubscribe to me. Just unsubscribe after that mistake, that errant flag. So thank you, Robbie, for pointing this out. That was a phenomenal play. It could have been easy. Like quarterbacks sometimes do this when they throw a pick, they're like, jeez. They don't go run after the play. They're like, son of a. I'll get him on the next one. Like, for Elijah Moore to book it. Not quite DK Metcalf, Buda Baker, Sunday Night Football a couple years ago, where
That was incredible.
he just starts like, Forrest Gumping his ass over there and going like, I'm going to get that guy and just like take him out. It wasn't quite that. But again, ultimately, you give yourself a chance. I'm surprised no one asked Salah about it in the presser. But that to me was such a great hustle play. And because again, I'm sure the Bengals, when they went out there and they went out at the one, they're like, we're about to walk this in. This Jets team is going to be a pair of saloon doors as we go into the end zone. Then stuff. And they're like, what the hell? Jamar Chase wide open drop. And then all of a sudden they go for it. They're like, screw this. We're going for it. And then it's this pivotal opportunity. That's that crazy Robert Saleh video and GIF that's going around of him going, yeah, let's go. When Quentin Williams gets a sack and he's holding on to Joe Burrow for dear life on his jersey, and Joe Burrow's limp body kind of flops to the canvas. I'm like, yeah. And then I thought immediately to the Elijah Moore play, like, wow, what a heads-up play, man. So terrific, spectacular. So Elijah Moore not only has the best day of finally getting involved, he had like 6 catches for 60 yards and change. I didn't see the final numbers, but it was somewhere in that ballpark when I was watching the game, kind of counting it live. And then to get that play on top of it, what a well-rounded game. That's so cool. So cool.
Yeah, really cool. He's one of my favorite players on the team. When they did One Jets Drive and they interviewed Elijah Moore, his mindset is just so freaking awesome. From a fan's perspective, I ate up every friggin' word he said. I love where his head is at, and he wants to be great, and he's only thinking about being great. And so, how can you not root for a guy like that that's putting in the work and is giving effort in games? He's not a prima donna, I just love it. It's great stuff.
And I just got to bring up the Connor Hughes article that he wrote the permanent marker on the mirror of every receiver that was taking ahead of him in the draft, Jamar Chase, all these guys. And apparently it's like Game of Thrones-ish, Jamar Chase. Random person. He's just muttering it to himself while he's brushing his teeth. Jamar Chase, that guy, they went above me, and this massive chip on the shoulder. Like, we all assume that football players, like, oh, man, someone cut me off in traffic. I'm going to take that out on the football field. Like, everyone has this chip on their shoulder, but, like, that he actually has it, I ate that up. The star stuff, finding a gem in the second round. The Jets never find gems in the second round over the last decade or so. And I'm like, oh, my God, this is the Jets finally hit the guy that hits. Oh, great. And, there's been some rough patches. This, to me, was a culmination of a lot of that. Again, NFL, it's not going to be SportsCenter top 10, whatever, like I said, 6 catches for 60 yards or whatever. But we're going to know, like, oh, wow, this is building. This is a stepping stone for something greater.
Absolutely. I hope that they continue to utilize him like they did today. It was a multitude of, they used him in a multitude of ways, which I love to see. We're going to go back to the comments because that's what we do
Yes,
here.
of course.
Tony G. I'm going to read your comment. He says, all eyes on Mike White come Thursday. They're definitely going to pump that one up on NFL Network. It's going to be all about
Perfect.
him. Personally, I think he's legit. Positive vibes going his way. He made a huge statement when a statement was needed. So basically, the guy stepped up when it was needed most. All right, cool. I like that comment. I do think that's an interesting take because there's a fair point to be made. There's going to be not necessarily pressure, but there's going to be a lot of eyes on Mike White come Thursday night, don't you think?
Thank God we're getting a little positive buzz. Imagine, right? Like the Jets were supposed to get annihilated by the Bengals. That's what the NFL world thought. So back-to-back blowouts, and then they limp into a short game against the Colts, and everyone's like, "Oh boy, we got this Thursday night game." So like, and for Jet fans, all the primetime game recently has just been again that horror show of they get trotted out there and then they get trampled. So to have any kind of zest, to me, it's a phenomenal storyline. I'll be talking about it on my podcast, shows, everything this week. Wow, Mike White, cool. This is going to be great. So that's phenomenal, absolutely amazing. So I can't wait. NFL Network, blow it up, baby. Let's have a duel between Carson Wentz and Mike White.
Yeah, man. I'm here for it. I like it. There's a lot of interesting storylines for sure. Guys, thank
It's
you
just
so much.
unbelievable.
Yeah, we're having a great time tonight. So Tommy R. Zuniga sighting today. Yeah, man, it was great to see him get involved. Just stay healthy. Just stay
Yeah,
healthy and be a contributor. You don't have to be a starter, Zuniga. I don't care if you're not a starter. Just
yeah.
play. And we saw that, in a small role today, not playing starter reps. At least I don't think he was, even though Huff was out. Um, Give him an opportunity. He can make something happen. What did you think from Zuniga today to get in the action a little bit, to be obviously on the field? What did you think?
I felt like we were playing a Jets bingo game. It was like 400-yard passer for the first time in 21 years. Bang! Got it. Nice. Okay, nice, nice. And then when Jabari Zuniga, who was initially cut after being a third-round pick for a year, gets a sack, strip sack. Wait, now there's no way that's gonna. Did that just
It happened.
bang? Another
Mm-hmm.
one. So like, it felt like LaMichael Pirine got in the game. I'm like, is the 2020 draft class suddenly coming back from the dead?
Yep.
Denzel Mims, LaMichael Pirine, Bryce Hall, of course, and Braden Mann, and that cool story of Thomas Morstead this week. I'm like, what in
Oh
God's
my
green
God.
earth?
How
So
cool was
all of it,
that?
I was just like, wow, man, this is cool. And Zuniga, again, a lot of people question that pick, and then you cut him a year later, like that. If that's not an admission of failure, I don't know what is. So thank God, that was so cool. So in a limited role, again, injuries played a part, but Zuniga made a pop, man, and that's what you want to see from the draft picks.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people going at Becton. We're not going to talk any more about it because we covered it plenty, I think.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of upset peoples. I'm surprised.
I will
Um,
see the reporting. The thing that like shocked me, I guess, is that so some people question it, saying, "Hey, it's from Tony Pauline," and I'm like, "Okay, fine. You want to question it? That's your opinion." But it also opened up a door for a lot of people to go, "Oh, perfect," because I knew Becton was a fatty. I knew he sucked. And it's like a perfect pulpit for everyone to go, aha, I knew it. I was right. Forcing your draft narrative down people's throats. Like, again, I'll take another L here. I'm like, oh, Josh Allen, he's going to be terrible. And every line of his terribleness in the first 2 years, I'm like, see, Paul's a genius. Josh Allen sucks. And then when he turned it around, I had to eat massive L's. It's the same thing the other way. When Becton had these Hall of Fame trades people kept talking about, they were like quiet, like, man, I thought he was going to be a bust. And then when all this stuff's happening, aha, I was right. Everyone loves being right, putting themselves out there. Aha, look at me. Look what I tweeted 5 years ago. Like, so for me, I feel like there's a lot of hate that's apparently been brimming beneath the surface. Like, it's just uncomfortable, quite frankly. So I'm not surprised now seeing it, but I was surprised a couple of days ago when this first report came out. Like, Jesus, people, like, he's your first round pick.
yeah, I'm rooting for him. I want him to be. I know that people who are saying they're upset with him want him to be great, but I'm surprised to see that there is so many upset with him. But it is what it is, man.
Yeah.
He's gotta prove it on the field, and some fans are harder to win over. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. All right, we've got an interesting topic here, question, comment, and I don't agree with it. Don't see it, but we'll go ahead and we'll grace
Sure.
them with this because there's a couple of dudes wanting to talk about. Jason Rhodes, he says, let's talk about how White is getting the support from the players far and above what Zach did. I don't see it that way. And I think that they are very, very happy for Mr. Mike White. Like, how could the team not support somebody on the team? You know what I mean? Like, they're just overjoyed to win. That's the other thing. Like, they're excited because they won the football game. They were a 1-5 team coming off of one of the most embarrassing, coming off of a bye losses that you could imagine. They're just really, really freaking happy, man. And I can't really see how you could see it that way, Jason Rhodes. And I don't want to lose track of what I'm going to say here, but basically, I would love to hear your voice on it. So feel free to leave me a voicemail for the podcast. Would love to hear from you and get your thoughts on that. Paul, you can touch on that if you want.
Can I roll enough? I don't know if it'll show up here.
Yeah, well.
Like, okay? Because, like, this is nauseating. People are so prisoner of the moment. Call in, voicemail. I'd love to hear what you have to say. I'm going to listen to the podcast. Yeah. But, like, for the love of God, people, when Zach Wilson at the Tennessee game, I may cut it up. I may cut it up and put it right together and say, Jason, what the blank are you talking about? Because when Zach Wilson made the throws, and then people, it's like so eerie how close they were. I'll use Michael Carter as an example. So Zach Wilson has a crazy plays. He's interviewed by Bob Wischusen outside the locker room, and they say, wow, did he expect this from Zach Wilson? He goes, no surprise based on what I've seen in practice. No surprise, I knew that was coming. Make your editing action, John. And then we go over to this. And then they just asked about Mike White. I saw the same comment. I'm not surprised by it based on what I saw in practice. He said the same damn thing. So what are we talking about, man? That's just one example. But everyone was saying the same garbage. Of course, John, you nailed it. Of course everyone's excited. Why wouldn't they be? Yes. Their quarterback won a game. They come off a bad loss. They get a great emotional win. It's great. But, like, this overall narrative, I didn't see the players talking to Zach Wilson like this. Like, that's ridiculous. Of course they were. They were all saying the same garbaggio. But maybe if even you think there's a hint of something, Zach Wilson was a number 2 overall pick. Silver platter, platinum. Mike White was a rando draft pick that has been cut and traded and moved around like a million times. It's like 11 times, I think they said on the broadcast, of the movement. And then he has this inspiring story. So if there's a little extra mustard, maybe that's it. If you really want to squint, if you really want to go, well, I kind of see a little something there. Like, maybe. But overall, no. It's garbaggio. Listen to the press conferences and get back to me, pal, okay? AtBoyGreen25. See on this little text thing he made? AtBoyGreen25, okay, pal? Yeah.
He's literally calling me right now. Sorry I showed your phone number, Jason.
Oh, beautiful.
So listen, Jason, I want you to leave a voicemail. If you're listening to the show still, I hope that you leave a voicemail because that's what I would like. I would like to address it that way if possible. Great stuff, Paul. Everybody's reminding you to breathe because you're doing... You're rolling, man. You're rolling. It's like you said. You're preaching, baby. You're preaching.
Yeah, that's it. This is a gospel.
I know, man. All right. Let's go to a couple more comments, and then sure. I think I will bid you a farewell. You've been money tonight, sir. Just absolutely money. Love the vibes. Great stuff, and you're hilarious. You're making me laugh, which is easily the way to steal my heart. So I appreciate you, man. Great energy. Let's see. So someone was asking where was Zach during the game. He was apparently in the press, or not the press box, the coach's box.
That's correct.
With LaFleur. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. So to answer that question, we can talk a little bit about LaFleur because we have kind of skipped over that. Very, very important. Just
one quick thing.
Sure.
I got a couple of tweets about this on the Zach Wilson thing. A couple of people were asking me, why isn't Zach Wilson down on the sideline to support his teammates? Again, the eye roll again. But the point is, for those who don't know, there, John did it for me. The thing is that for people who don't know, this is, again, speculation. The speculation cap is on here. But a very easy thing that they do all the time with injured players, especially guys like who have like a knee or something, Like they take him off the sideline because obviously anything can happen. You saw George Fant was the one who went all the way deep, and there's a couple guys that almost hit Salah on an exchange, and he's coaching on the sideline. So remove that entirely, and plus also the seeing from the booth angle, and you're going to get the game tape after. A lot of people were asking about that. Why isn't he on the sideline? Wow, what kind of teammate? Whatever. The point is that I would assume, strongly assume, based on just seeing it in the past, is it's an injury thing. You completely remove him from the sideline. There's no point in him being down there. Let him go up in the booth and see it from LaFleur's eyes and being up in the coach's box. So I just wanted to establish that. Got a couple tweets about it. Wanted to just kind of clear the air on that.
Yeah, and I think he just wants to be with his coach too. Like that's the other thing. Like all of the reasons you mentioned are definitely valid. I think he also just wants to be tied to the hip of his OC. He wants to continue learning. I would hope that would be the reason why, or one of the main reasons why. All right, cool. I have actually caught up with the chat, which is remarkable. Michelle, she says maybe LaFleur isn't the issue. Let's talk a little bit about LaFleur because he's gotten so much heat, and some of it I think, some of it warranted, some of it not warranted. I'll let you go first, and I'm going to talk on this one. I haven't specifically spoken on everything tonight. I will talk on this one. What are your thoughts on LaFleur's game today, and perhaps what we've seen in the past?
I hope I don't steal a lot of your thunder here, John, because I feel like there may be some. I think I'm seeing some of the things you may or may not be hinting at. I agree. It also isn't all LaFleur, but he deserves some of the heat he's been getting. For instance, the London game is one I'll bring up again, a game that I thought the Jets were going to kill. He scripted beautiful, easy plays for Zach Wilson, and Zach Wilson was in his own head, whatever. Zach Wilson is obviously more than capable to a 5-yard out or whatever the simple – he can make all the throws. There's the cliche. All right, everybody drink. I said it. But, like, the point is that it's not like LaFleur. It's like some evil scientist going, how can I give Zach Wilson an impossible throw? Aha, he missed it. Great. Like, his job is on the line. Like, so he missed some easy things, he being Zach Wilson. Mike LaFleur scripted beautiful things, screens, the quick pops to Jamison Crowder at his feet. Ryan Griffin, go back to that play, Tennessee overtime. That game's over. There's no, I hope he misses the field goal. Hit Ryan Griffin. He's right there in the flat. Boop, walk-in touchdown, walk-off. How different is that narrative? Zach Wilson, walk-off touchdown, blah, 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 blah. Miss that. But also, I'll go on the other side. LaFleur's done some stupid crap. New England, run, third down sack off a nickel blitz. Like, what the? You see New England first, and they're going trick play, flea flicker, red zebra, cobra, spider banana, and then LaFleur's like, well, hold my beer. Yeah. Run up the gut. 1 yard gain. Run up the gut.
Do it again.
And then third down, let's try a sack. Son of a. How did that not work? Like, and the thing that bothers me, and Patriots game will beat LaFleur here for a second, although it's partly defense. The Jets were down 14-0, and Zach Wilson hadn't attempted a pass yet. That can't happen. The thing that I loved from Mike White, he also had a great answer in this in the postgame. It's on my Twitter account. And it was about Mike White saying to get himself in the game, easy completions, but also to get the receivers into the game. So quick crossers to Elijah Moore, quick crossers to Denzel Mims. And before you know it, first off, you're moving the chains, so that keeps everyone moving, grooving. Defense can keep breathing on the sideline, and you're moving the offense. You're getting them involved. All those simple things. You don't – and Mike LaFleur's excuse after the Patriots game was, I wanted to ease him into the game. Ease him into the game. Give him a drag. Ease him into the game that way, not running it and playing scared with training wheels on. Like, that's the problem to me. There's been good and bad. There's been both. So I think it's a little bit on both of them. But, LaFleur definitely not the issue. Like, indicating that Zach Wilson is the issue, I think is ridiculous.
Yeah, all very good points. And I agree. The play calling in some cases is a little bit suspect. And I think we were talking with so we have a person on our panel. His name's James. He's from Jets X Factor. He's a contributor over there. And he was saying like how basically if you talk to every fan base in the National Football League, they all hate their offensive coordinator. Like they're all if the team is struggling, it's always the offensive coordinator. He deserves, like I said, some of the blame for sure for the shortcomings of the offense so far this season. Some of my problems are the way he uses players, the way he
That's another good point.
does rotate. He rotates players in weird ways. So like today, even for example, we were in the red zone, and I can't remember specifics on what point in the game it was, but we were inside, I think, the 10-yard line, and we ran it twice, and then on the third down pass, I believe we had Jeff Smith and like Barrios in there, no more, no Mims, and I think maybe even not Cole. It's just kind of weird how they do that, and I'm not certain on that, but I did
Right.
see that was something that somebody had said online that was the setup for that third down play, and I just can't really understand why that would be the case. It seems weird. And I think that actually, now that I'm remembering, that was the play that he got sacked on inside the
Yes.
red zone.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
So his use of players individually, giving them easy opportunities. We saw him doing that in spades today. So hopefully he's getting his mojo himself. But moving forward, just getting guys easy opportunities to get the ball in their hands. We see it. There was a check down today on 3rd and 11 to Ty Johnson, and that man, dude, I love seeing Ty Johnson run because he's got exceptional bursts in my opinion, and he
Hmm.
runs really really hard. Just get the ball in their hands, man. Give Zach Wilson when he comes back. Give him these opportunities to do this. He needs to also capitalize, like you said, in the Ryan Griffin example that you gave. Very well said. Um,
I will throw
so,
one more in there that you were talking
sure.
about, and I believe it was a Patriots game, and it was a bubble screen, two wide receivers on the left side of the formation. It was Elijah Moore and Jamison Crowder, and what LaFleur cooked up was Elijah Moore blocking the defender, which I believe was the green-haired Green Goblin, Jalen Mills from New England,
Mm-hmm.
and he said, "All right, Elijah, hike the ball gets hiked. You block Jalen Mills, and we'll flip it over to Jamison Crowder." Elijah Moore, no offense, dude. Look, that's a Denzel Mims play. Like,
Yeah.
okay, you hate Denzel Mims, you hate his family. He's been in exile for his entire life, and you're like, we have to use Denzel Mims. Okay, Corey Davis is hurt. Like, I get there's some like pox on his family, but like that's where you use him. So there's been all kinds of personnel things that you mentioned. That's another one that jumped out to me in the middle of your conversation there that you were bringing up. Is that's another one where again it's strange, but hopefully he's getting better at it. That's what we can hope for.
Yep. And Rick, I'm sorry, not Rick, Tommy, we will see James on the Wednesday podcast. We're also going to see Green Bean. Green Bean's going to join us this Wednesday as well. So we'll have a nice panel for that show. And I have some pretty big news, and I'll share that in a few minutes. I'm going to see
Ooh,
if I can catch up. Ty Johnson enthusiasm is infectious. I love Ty Johnson, man. I think
he's great.
I was really, really high on him going into the year. Obviously, he hasn't quite lived up to that quite yet, but he's still, I think, in my opinion, he's one of those backs that when he is in the open field, he's pretty dangerous. And if it's a one-on-one race, he's damn fast. So
100%. I love it. Love the juice from Ty, man.
Grant Rude, you want me to bash on Wilson. I won't bash on him, but I will say this, Grant, and I've said it before. He needs to play better, and nobody's going to disagree with that. I don't think he has to play better. Um, so I'm not going to pat him on his butt and say good job. He needs to do better when he comes back, when he gets his opportunity, and he's going to get another opportunity. He needs to take advantage of it. And so when it's an open short pass, he's got to make that connection. When it's a ball that's down the field and he's got a guy open, he's got to hit it. It's just that simple. I'm not going to baby Zach Wilson. He is a player that we need to be great, and it doesn't have to happen right away, but he needs to take steps towards that pretty much right now. Whenever he gets back, he needs to improve, and I'll never change that stance. That's never going to change for any player, really. It doesn't matter. Call me crazy. Yes, I am happy that we won, but I am a little disappointed that Mike White was the dude that had this game. I wish it was Wilson that had this type of game. He had a pretty damn good game against the Titans, and in the second half versus the Panthers, he had a pretty good game as well. So we've seen those little spits of success for Zach. I am going to officially open the lines up after we after we say good day to you, Paul, because I will go ahead and I will have that be an option. Thank you so much for coming on, man. Everybody that I interact with, it's always just such a treat. Whether it's you, Green Bean, anybody that I've had on the channel, I've had some. I've talked to Jake Asman at one point.
Sure.
So there's been just a bunch of people, and everybody is just so kind. Um, and I really do appreciate you coming on my show. Very humbled, and I appreciate it. I would love to come on your channel anytime. You just send the word my way, and I'd be happy to do that. Everybody enjoyed you as well. Great, great takes, great insights. So can't say enough good things about you, sir.
Well, thank you. I'm glad I was able to pop the NYJ Today cherry today. That's phenomenal, and hopefully it won't be the last time I'm on, man. This is hashtag blessed, as the kids say. This was a goodie, man. This was a lot of fun.
Yes. All right, dude. Thank you so much. Have an awesome night, and I will talk to you later. I will send you a message or two in the evening time. Have a great night, dude.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, dude. Have a great night.
Yep, you too. Peace.
All right. Goodbye to you, and hello to the listeners still watching this show, because we are not done yet. I would like to open up the phone lines. We did this last week at the end of the Sunday at the end of the Sunday post-game show. If you've got a burning take, if you have hated one of the things that I said or that Paul said and you want to get it out in the open, the phone line, I believe, is open if my phone is working. It doesn't appear to be. Let's see about that. Why am I not connected to the Wi-Fi? Well, anyway, would love to have you guys call into the show. For right now, it looks like my phone is trying to connect, which is kind of strange, but I will continue to read the comments. And if you guys don't mind, I will actually share the big news. So if you've been looking, and I do have my phone, by the way, so call in. The number is on the screen, 347-921-1468. The big news is I'm going to be launching a solo podcast. I had sent out a poll on the community tab, and I asked people what they thought about that idea, and it seemed pretty popular that, some people wanted that to be a thing. And so starting on November 9th, I will be launching the solo Jets Today podcast. I'm pretty excited about it. Here's the logo that I created for it, and it's going to be fun, man. I'm going to be getting back to inviting you guys to call, to leave voicemails for the show. It's very much the same format that Matt O'Leary uses on his channel. And I just want to involve you guys as much as I can. I think I've said that so many times. So that's all there really is to share. I'm excited about it. It does change the schedule for the content on the channel. So be on the lookout in the community tab for the new schedule. It'll be every Wednesday morning. I'll post the pod, and then we'll still have our Sunday post game show. And then once we get to the off season, the Wednesday podcast, the live stream will come back, and then the podcast, the solo podcast, will come out on Fridays. So pretty excited about it. I hope you guys do. I hope you guys enjoy it as well. Appreciate all the comments you guys are sending my way. It really means a lot. Dennis Montalvo, yes, the defense definitely showed up today. They made some big plays. Shaq Lawson making plays, deflecting passes. Jabari Zuniga, Bryce Hall. The one guy that I was a little disappointed in today was Ashton Davis. Seemed to struggle in coverage. Didn't really seem to really know where to be quite honest with you. All right, we got our first phone call of the day. Let me get these out.
Call from to accept, press 1.
Paul, are you there?
Yeah, how are you?
I'm doing good, Paul. How you doing, man?
How are you? Good. I just started listening to your live stream a couple of weeks ago. You do a great job on one of the best ones out there. So, I've been a fan since 1979. I'm much older than you guys. And, a couple of observations I had for today. One being that I want your thoughts on something where I think this game really, really was a good thing for Robert Saleh. He started started getting the reputation that, as you know, as you spoke last week on your stream, but the other fella, I forgot his name, where you guys were basically saying, I don't know, these guys might be above their heads, Mr. Nice Guy, and stuff like that. So I kind of give him the game ball. The only thing that I kind of observe after watching football so many years is, this guy Mike White, the Bengals study his character. I don't know. Maybe they were looking, past him. I don't know. But it seems to me that the more successful guys in the NFL are always guys that are like way taller than 6'3", 6'4". Look at all the great quarterbacks. I mean, even look at Justin Herbert. And I listen to all the other, ESPN and all WFAN and all that, and post-game show with Greg Bartle and all that, and you kind of like pushed it away. But what's your thoughts on on a quarterback controversy? I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
So first of all, Paul, thank you so much for the call and also for the compliment. Really means a lot. I don't hear from everybody, on the phone, so it's great to hear you, enjoying the show. I really do appreciate that. To answer your question about controversy, not controversy, as of right now, I don't think that we can sit here and say that it is legit quarterback competition or, controversy. Having said that, though, let's say Mike White goes into this game against the Colts, has another, 275, 300-yard game, throws 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, and leads the Jets to another upset win on the road. Like, then you start to say to yourself, okay, now we've got something here, don't you think? Like, you would think at that point in our minds, we've not only won 2 games in a row, but we've got 2 games back-to-back of really good quarterback play. What are your thoughts on that? I'm going to bounce it back to you. If he does this back-to-back weeks, go ahead.
I think you're 100% right, but let's look at it in another way. We all came, as Jet fans, we starve for, a successful year. I mean, come on. Back 10 years ago, it's written in 30 documentaries. We beat Tom Brady on the road, Peyton Manning on the road, and we can't get to the Super Bowl. I mean, we were a wild card team, and that kind of deflated us, and we're paying for it almost 11 years later. I think my thoughts is this. We look at the stats and we're saying to ourselves in the summer, yeah, we'll probably get Nick Foles. Is Joe Douglas that cheap? But they kept saying, hey, this guy Mike White, he might have something, and they kept him in a little bottle, like in a way where, the guy was very poised. How many times, that we've seen guys come out like, third-string quarterbacks or second-string quarterbacks, from Kellen Clemens to, I don't even know, like, let's name other guys who came in for injuries and they were horrible.
Yeah, you're right.
This kid, opened up your eyes, and we kept saying to ourselves, you know what? Listen, we had Sam Darnold, we had Sanchez, we got Zach Wilson now. Okay, this kid came out of nowhere, and I don't know. I mean, to me, for the first time in a fan so many years, I welcome the quarterback controversy. I think that he's an example of a guy who, you watch other games and you see other teams and they have like their backup quarterback. You watch the highlights and they're so great. Oh man, you look at this backup quarterback, he did so great, and then we're like, how come our backup quarterback, sucked? What was his name? Didn't the Jets have Trevor Siemian?
Yes.
Playing for the Saints.
Yes.
Yeah, look at him. You know what I mean? So, we kept telling ourselves, how come we can't catch lightning in the bottle? I don't know. I mean, to me, I'm very proud of the following other guys. I'll be honest with you. Our comeback game was for Brandon Eccles. He had a really good game. He was on Chase most of the time. One guy that I kept telling my son earlier last night, I said, let's think of one defensive rookie of the year. And, Michael Carter, number 2, he's up there. He's playing that nickel back, position really, really good. Jared Davis, we signed him to a 1-year contract. He was a big, we thought maybe he might be a bust. He came out of nowhere. A guy like Shaq Lawson, who bounces around from team to team. And I kept telling myself, you know what? It's a 6 or 7 game process. These young guys are buying into the system. and I was really proud of these guys today. They played a gutty performance, and again, this is a big question. Yes, if he has a great game against the Colts, we have to start telling ourselves, A, let's right the ship. B, we don't have to go 3-14 just to get a high pick. You know what I mean? And let's build into a system because again, I kept saying to myself, and I was talking earlier on ESPN to Larry Hardesty. I said, "Is Robert Saleh like Pete Carroll? When the Jets had Pete Carroll, and I don't know if you know the story how Pete Carroll got fired.
Yes.
From the Jets. And I kept saying, is he too Mr. Nice Guy? And or do we have a system here? Because the whole week, you know what I kept telling myself the whole week? I kept saying, man, you know what? I hope Rex Ryan comes back at some point. Maybe Saleh could last for 2 years, and maybe Rex Ryan can come back. You never know. We might have a revitalization of it, But anyway, listen, I'm going to let you go. You do a great job. You're very, very thorough and very analytical, and you follow everything with passion as a Jet fan, which I love, as being a young Jet fan compared to me. But, again, I wish you a lot of luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you so much for calling, dude. I hope to hear from you with the voicemails, man.
You will. Thank you.
All right, brother. Take care. Awesome call from Paul. I really appreciate it. And he brings up a great point, guys. The Robert Saleh situation. So he did an outstanding job of getting his players ready to play today. It didn't necessarily happen last week, but he did an awesome job of getting this group of men, young men, focused and re-energized and ready to kick ass, man. We have to flip the script. We can't go into another week of football with another blowout. It's just going to demoralize this team. And so I'm on the mindset of, for this coaching staff, it's a week to week thing, man. They have to continue to show that they're the real deal. And I don't really buy into the Robert Saleh being too nice, kind of like the Pete Carroll situation. I don't see it that way. And it's clear that he has that philosophy that he wants the players to trust him. He wants them to buy into what he is selling. And so I'm not going to judge him on that, that philosophy. Great call, Paul. I really do appreciate it. And I do hope to hear from you, like I said, for the voicemails for the show. The voicemail number is the one that's on the screen. So if you guys want to write that down, save it in your phones, please feel free to send me voicemails starting tonight, tomorrow, whenever you guys are available. The phone number is always open. All right, let's get back to the comments. Wicked, he says, do you think this game gives the coaching staff more trust in Mims? Do you think we see more targets for him on Thursday? Unfortunately, Wicked, I don't think he did anything really to help his stock. Not necessarily the drop, but, he didn't really have a ton of production in the game. And I have to assume that, I shouldn't say assume, but I have to hope that Corey Davis will be close to ready to play for this Titans game. If he's out again, you have to imagine that Denzel's going to get a lot of playing time again, and it's another opportunity for him to shine. I'm hopeful that he gets targets regardless whether Davis comes or not, but it just seems to be the case that if Corey's in, they're not going to play him a whole lot. All right, let's see here. Let's go down. What's going on, DJ? It's good to see you in the chat again, my man. New subscriber just last week, so it's great to see you coming back. Let's see what Dennis has to say. He says, I don't think there is a controversy. The fact that White and Johnson were doing good things means that LaFleur is getting better and we get to see Carter be used as a Swiss Army knife. If you're a Jets fan and you're not encouraged by what you saw from Michael Carter, the running back today, then I don't know what to tell you, dude. He was elusive. He was hitting. He's physical. For the size that he is very physical. He lowers the shoulder and lowers the head even to draw personal fouls that ultimately give us a win. So, and then the fact that he has 17 receptions in the last 2 games. Woo! I love it, man. I love where he's at right now, and I think that as the season progresses, he is definitely our RB1. And listen, man, I say keep sprinkling in Ty Johnson, and if Tevin Coleman ever gets healthy, you can sprinkle him a little bit in there as well. I have no problems with that at all. All right. DJ says that was going to happen. We have a good team. It's just the inexperience, but it's looking good. Yeah, they're going to be up and down, just like Robert Saleh said. They're going to be up and down. They're young, and they're not going to be consistent week to week. Let's see. Eric Allen and Anthony Beck said it today. There's a reason the players show Mike White support over Zach. Rumor is Zach is kind of an asshole. They did not say that. What did Eric Allen and Anthony Beck say? I am so going to look that up. I got to see what they said. Let's see. Hopefully Zach can learn to take the checkdowns as he watched Mike White do it today. Yeah, I mean, people were talking about it in the chat. Mike White kind of looked like Mac Jones for the Patriots, kind of taking what the defense gave him, minimizing risk with his passes, taking the checkdowns, obviously looking to the running backs a lot to throw the ball to them. I have no problem. And in fact, I favor offenses that throw to their running backs. If you can make a defense have to account for that, it opens up a lot of things. It can open up the middle of the field if you're using your running backs to go towards the sidelines. So I love the versatility that provides to an offense in general. All right. So I'm all caught up. And if I don't get another phone call in the next couple of minutes, I just want to let you guys know that we will be live this Wednesday. It'll be James. It'll be Green Bean, myself. And we will be doing the Wednesday podcast for the last time until the off season. So it'll be the Jets Today podcast will launch on the 9th, which is the Wednesday, I believe. The Tuesday. So I'm going to try my best to get that podcast out for the first time. Episode 1 will be recounting the Bengals game and the Colts game. And I'm really, really excited about that. I want you guys to leave voicemails. That's one of the big things I want for that podcast is your voices on it, not just my own dumb voice.
Call from official. To accept, press 1. To send a voice.
Official, what's going on, man?
What's crack-a-lackin', my dude?
How you doing, man?
I'm back in the saddle again, man. But I'm gonna tell you, I am hoarse. My neighbors know what happened today. They didn't have to ask. And it's funny, I want to give a shout out to all the Jets fans. Y'all are fucking great, man.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? We turned up today. I saw 12th man out there in MetLife Stadium. It was a beautiful thing today. You know what I'm saying? What we saw today, though, was, in my opinion, and I'm just, these are not backed up by anyone else but myself. So being a longtime Jets fan, from my knee high, I was a Jets fan. What I saw today was progress in the next evolution of where we're going as the team of the Jets. But we can't make any more mistakes like we did. I just put in the chat, I forget who was saying that, but they were saying something about Mike White and Zach should be, I think we shouldn't do them like the rest of the quarterbacks we had. Chad Pennington, Sam Darnold more recently. We got Mark Sanchez. We never developed none of those quarterbacks. None of them.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
No,
we threw them out into the wolves.
You're 100% right. Keep talking.
Hurt may be a blessing in disguise. Let him sit behind two good arms. You brought Flacco back. See what happens. Let him sit for a little bit. I don't agree with throwing him right back out there, not after seeing somebody throw for 400 yards, 3 touchdowns. He had 2 interceptions, and they weren't even his.
Yeah, dude.
You know
Listen.
what I'm saying? So we haven't seen this since when? What he said? Since the 2000s?
Yeah.
We haven't seen our quarterback do that.
Yeah, 2000 was the last time that a quarterback in green threw for 400 yards. Go ahead.
You see what I'm saying? And
Yes.
this is what I'm trying to get at, people. This is a new dawn right here. Salah, I have all the trust in. And the guy on the floor calling the plays, his brother is in football too. Hey, it might have the same kind of DNA. I was loving that when we brought him on. Get rid of the Gases and all that kind of stuff. We're making that turn right now, and I feel really, really good. I have a hoarse voice, man, but I want to say, you know what I'm saying, what a fantastic game. What an amazing showmanship from that guy's arm. Mike White put some zip on that ball. Both the Carters were showing out today. We had an interception by a lineman. How much better to get on a Sunday?
I know, dude. It's awesome, man. Thank you so much for calling in, dude. I hope to hear from you for the podcast. Leave a voicemail, my man.
Yes, sir. You already know I'm locking in.
All right, go
Jet up, baby.
Jet up. Go rest your voice, my man. Have a good night.
All right.
All right,
Yes,
peace,
sir.
dude. Yeah, dude. And listen, you made a good point, Tommy, in the chat. There wasn't a lot of Jets fans there, but the ones that were there were making noise. And again, I'm not shocked by any means at all that the stadium wasn't full necessarily, because 1-5, the starting quarterback was out. Nobody was sure what to expect. So yeah, man, I'm right there with you. Mike is not off the channel. No, that's the misconception that I was afraid everybody would have. No, Mike is going to be on the Sunday post game show. He's going to be on the Wednesday show during the off season. So Mike's going nowhere. All right, we got our next phone call. Carlos, what's up, dude?
What a win.
Yes. Tell me about it. Talk to me. I want to hear you.
Oh, man. I'm just saying, man, what a win. It's something definitely the Jets needed. Robert Saleh and Mike LaFleur for them to come out the way that they did. But, being realistic, we have to temper our expectations of Mike White. Yes, he went over 400 yards, but that was mostly due to the running backs. And I am a big Jets fan, but if you look at the throws and how he winds up to throw that ball, he needs to learn how to take off some speed, some power off the ball, because when he was dumping them off, that's most of the reason why they were being kind of catted by the running backs and being picked up.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think that is a fair assessment, that he needs to learn to take a little bit off the ball. And I'm with you, dude. Everybody is excited about it, but we need to slow down and realize it's just one game. And there's nothing wrong with being excited, but it's also one of those things where you don't want to buy in all the way, because you could be disappointed badly, wouldn't you say?
Exactly, man. I always said that it's about show me, don't just tell me. And I always expected this season to go up and down. And I'm honestly giving the Jets about 2 to 3 years before they could honestly be contenders. Being realistic. Yes, you have your any given Sunday game when it comes to the NFL, but honestly, I'm just glad that the Jets pulled this one out. And you see the Bengals coach and everybody knew, look, man, you can't take this team lightly. They're a young team, and once they start clicking, things are going to start lifting up. And in quick thing, the one thing I want to say is a lot of people got to keep in mind that Zach Wilson didn't really have a mentor. So him being up there with Mike LaFleur is honestly going to help him, as he's going to teach him how to read the field, how to drop those passes to the running back, just like Mike White was doing. And if you see the playback of the games, Mike White was missing Denzel Man, Elijah Moore, or over or under throwing them. And I think that's where Zach Wilson is going to come in. And once he learns to read the field, he's going to be making those throws. And everybody's going to forget about Mike White.
Very well said. Thank you so much for calling in, dude. I really do appreciate it. Hope to hear from you for the podcast coming up. Leave me a voicemail, my man.
All right, man. Have a good one, man. Let's go, Jets.
Let's go, Jets. Thank you, Carlos. Let's go, Jets. Absolutely. All right. So we've got a little bit of time left. I'm going to probably shut it down the next 10 minutes or so, guys. So I'll take another call or two if I have time. Would love to hear from you guys. But I do want to just quickly say before I get another call, I am of the frame of mind that Zach Wilson would benefit from some time just sitting, just in the quarterback room, in the meetings, studying film, working on his mechanics, his footwork. There were people on Twitter that were, talking about how, how people were saying, oh, like, you're really complaining that he's going to be healthy and ready to play versus Buffalo. Like, what the heck is that all about? And I think people are misunderstanding the take. If Zach Wilson's healthy and he recovers from his injury, that's great. I'm happy. I'm very happy about that. I don't want him to be hurt long term. I think that's kind of crazy talk. The thing that I'm trying to get my point across here is that why wouldn't we want to see him just go a little bit, quiet for a little bit here? Because, again, Zach Wilson was struggling, and it wasn't just, a couple of things. It was, holding the ball. It was reading the defense, getting the ball into the hands of his playmakers. Accuracy was an issue at certain points as well. And I'm not really in the mindset that, he should only take lumps. Of course, he's going to take his lumps. Every rookie quarterback goes through them at some point. But he shouldn't just be playing terrible every single week. Do you know what I mean? Like, him playing poorly every game is not going to benefit him. And so, in my opinion, him being injured is an opportunity for him to recalculate, recalibrate, recuperate, all of those things to get himself ready to play when his time comes again. I believe we're going to hear from Mr. Grant Rude. What's up, Canadian? You dumb Canadian?
John, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. That was the name you left for yourself, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, I just want to be sure. I'm not trying to insult you.
No, I'm the dumb Canadian that needs to stick to hockey.
No, never.
How nice was this win, eh?
It was great, dude. It's like a breath of fresh air every freaking time. I swear, I needed it. We all needed it. And again, we can forget about the quarterback for a minute. This team really needed a rebound. The coaching staff and the fan base needed to just chill out a little bit, I think, as well. So, what are your thoughts? What did you see? What were your takeaways?
Yeah, first off, I wanted to point out Salah was energized on the sideline there. It was nice to see over the standing like a zombie, staring at paint dry.
Yeah.
So that was good.
Yeah,
it
dude.
seems like a total 180.
Yes. I feel like he needs to work on like being somewhere in the middle most of the time, and then using that energy as like bursts like he kind of did today, which I think is what I would like to see moving forward, is that passion that rips out of him basically, but like not to do that, the what was frig? I can't remember his name. Todd Bowles impersonation basically.
Yeah, oh yeah. No, I just want to see him go like hyper full, over the top Rex Ryan. I just wanted to see him yelling and screaming the entire game.
Yeah, dude. Absolutely.
He's at his best when he's into the game and pumped and getting, like, the players responded to it, I felt. It started off good, so that could have been part of the reason why, but he was pumped, the players were pumped.
Yeah, dude.
Something I haven't heard anybody say anything about. What did you think of Davis coming back in his debut?
Davis
at linebacker.
Yeah. Jared, right? Jared Davis.
Yep.
Well, I'll say this. Whatever we saw defensively last week was repaired with the return of not only CJ Mosley, but also Davis. The run defense was much, much better today.
Yep.
I'm very, very optimistic for the defense to continue to improve. It would be nice if the pass rush could be a little bit more consistent week to week. We all saw that 7-sack game and we were licking our chops. I think that it would be nice if we could be a little bit more consistent with the pass rush, but I'm not going to complain. I think that, it's a good point to make. Jared Davis clearly had an impact with his return.
Yeah. I was hoping to lead you into CJ Mosley too. Like his presence, just his presence alone on the field is just game changing. Like he's gone and the defense is just gone. He's there and the defense looks quite good. So
he's absolutely
really impressed with the linebacker corps there.
Dude, see, you can't say enough good things about CJ Mosley, and I know my take.
Oh, yeah.
My take on him was that he was going to take time coming into the year, and he was going to need to shake rust off. He's been unbelievable this year. He is really, really very impressive.
Yeah, I was really concerned about him shedding so much weight, but it doesn't matter. He's just gold right now. Like he's irreplaceable. Period. People are there were people talking about trading him at the trade deadline, kind of thing. And you just flat out can't.
Right. Not only financially, but the player himself.
Yeah, well, he's being paid like a top linebacker, but he is a top linebacker. So
right. Yeah, dude. No, I'm with you. I'm excited to see him continue to play. Obviously, it seems like he's on the right track with his It was a hamstring with him, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And those can be pretty nagging, so I'm glad that he was able to shake that up. I think it was his hamstring. I'm pretty sure.
It was a soft tissue regardless. So he's back now. He should be fine, hopefully. I don't want to fucking jinx it, and I don't have any wood around me, so I can't knock on it. But yeah, so the second point I want to get to is Mike White. Great game, awesome. Played within the system. Super happy with all of that. 405 yards was fantastic.
Yes.
Played like Mac Jones, right?
Mm-hmm.
People were bashing Mac Jones for being a dink and dunk and taking the check down, and it seemed to win us the game, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly. It's almost like words of
9 points.
Go ahead.
Yeah, 9 point something yards per attempt isn't dink and dunk, but he didn't throw. I think his longest was 24 yards, and that was a run after the catch. So he didn't throw farther than 24 yards, but it worked.
Yeah.
So playing within the system, I really like this system. Just give it time. Let it, like everybody wants to say, let it cook.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Yeah, and kudos to you, man, because you pointed out that awesome article, and I'll be honest with you, I don't do a lot of article reading, and that was a really, really poignant article to share because it identifies exactly, the very important thing, which is that this is not a one season fix. It's not something that just magically we take a pill and it's all good. Like there's got to be a process that goes in with installing this offense. So.
Yep. And I'm actually, I was surprised because everything that I read, so there's there's 6 different takes on the West Coast system. And what I assumed LaFleur was bringing in was a wide zone run. But today what you've seen was, I think White had 49 throw attempts.
He had a lot.
It was damn near close 50.
Yes.
And then rushing attempts was 20 something.
Yep.
It was damn near 2-1 pass to rush.
Yes.
And that really surprised me, but it was working, so why not stick to it, right?
Yeah, no, they came out and they came firing away too. That was the other thing. They didn't just throw it all game long. They came out throwing as well. It wasn't like they were behind and that was the reason. They were pretty aggressive. I think they saw something on film with the passing game and kind of attacking them with these short to intermediate routes. And like you said, kind of fits the system too. So
That's
not
actually a really interesting point.
I am not against you as much against you as you may think that I am in regards to you know, with Wilson and, you know, what he needs to do to improve. I think a lot of the things that you want, or excuse me, the things that you see as problems, I also see as problems. I'm just a little bit more patient, and I do have hope that he'll turn it around, but we have to wait and see, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, no, I totally agree. I'm very much willing to go, 3 years and pray to God he turns it around.
Yes.
I just don't see it happening.
I hear you.
I really, really want him to succeed.
I know
I just
you do.
don't think it's going to happen.
I know you do.
So it really sucks, for that. I'm rooting for him. I really am, and I know a lot of people think I just fucking flat out hate him.
No.
But
I do not.
like I hate his mentality. I hate his style of play. I'm so sick of Mormon Mahomes and off platform. I can't fucking stand it. And that's not on him. That's more on the people that are, throwing that cliche out every single day, kind of thing.
I hear you.
But
I hear you.
he can do it. I don't think he can't do it. I think it's going to take a lot of time.
Yeah.
But he can do it. He can get there.
Some quarterbacks take a long time.
We're seeing today. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he can turn it around for sure. The thing that we've seen today, though, is the system works. The system that we have can win football games, and we just played a really good Bengals defense, and what did we put up? 34 points.
Yeah. Yep.
When was the last time we've seen the Jets put up 34 points?
Been a long time.
2015?
It's been a long
back in the
time.
days?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. All right, brother. I'm gonna let you go. Thank you so much for calling in, dude. Yep. I'll hear from you soon, man. Have a good night. All right. That's gonna do it for this Sunday night post-game show. The Jets come out victorious. I do want to address this comment. The Wednesday show is not gone. The Wednesday show will still exist. It will be in the off season, and the off season is very, very long. So Wednesday podcast ain't going nowhere. The people that are on this show are going nowhere. The problem is I couldn't do 2 streams a week and create content. That's really the problem. And so I've split it in half, basically. I'm going to be creating content 1 day a week, and you guys will get the streams once a week from here on out. That's the plan. I'm sticking with it, and I hope you enjoy the content that comes your way. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for liking this video. We've got over 50 likes, so that's awesome. If you haven't hit the like button yet, go ahead and do that for me right now. If you're new to this channel and you're watching it and you've been watching it after the stream ended, please consider subscribing to the channel. The support means a ton, helps the channel to grow. We get more interaction with more people, and that's really what I'm after. The podcasts that we've done in the past, the live streams, the podcast that I'm going to be doing, with the thought in mind is that I'm going to be able to hear your voices, and that's the thing I want to do most, is connect with you guys. I think that my actions speak louder than the words. You guys have seen that. So all in all, go Jets. Great day. Hope you all had a great Halloween. Hope you enjoyed your time with your families. Go Jets. And I will see you guys on Wednesday. Have a great night. Peace, guys.